Hey everybody, welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us. So tonight we have a very, very cool topic, mindfulness part two. Part one was just awesome, so we wanted to bring it back with part two. So we're about to get into our awesome panelists and their introductions. Before we do that though, just want to remind everyone that person of the day, sign up to be the EduMatch featured person of the day. You can go to our site edumatch.org and then just look for the big button on the right that says sign up. So I'm going to keep it real. There is a wait. We are on number like 500 something of like 700 that signed up. So it's going to take like most of 2018 to get to you. However, you should know that by signing up, then when you do, if you have a blog that has an RSS feed, so like WordPress, Blogger, whatever, and it's easily findable, then we will tweet out your post and it'll go to our network of over 20,000 educators. In the meantime, we will also add you to our database, our awesome table of EduMatchers. So you might have seen that already, but people can search for you and find people who match them. And last but not least, when we feature other people of the day, we tag people who come up as matches in the database. So you will be tagged when someone comes up as a match, as long as there's space on a tweet with our brand new 280 characters. So we get to make a lot more matches that way. So definitely looking forward to having y'all on. So tonight we are talking mindfulness. So just wanted to throw it over to our panel for some introductions. So welcoming back Desiree.
Hello, everyone. My name is Desiree Alexander, aka Educator Alexander, and I am very, very happy to be here tonight. I am the Regional Director of North Louisiana for Apple, and I am the founder and CEO of Educator Alexander Consulting.
Awesome. Well, I am glad to have you back. So it's great to have you back. See, I got a little tongue tied there, but it's great to have you back and great to hear your wonderful insights. So thank you again for joining us, Desiree. All right, we're going to skip Nicolette and we're going to go next to Rachel.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Rachel Pearson. I am a K through 6 STEM teacher at a small district in southern Minnesota. I'm really excited to be back for another tweet and talk. Yay! And just coming off of seeing Sarah at a conference too. That was super fun and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we really had such a great time taking a whole bunch of crazy pictures. So so shout out to Rachel, shout out to you and to everybody at Tie 17. That was an awesome experience. See, I had some hats for y'all. I was telling Rachel, but unfortunately they got sent to San Antonio, like where we had the ISTE stuff sent to. So they just made them back to my house in Virginia. So but I do have hats for the next few events, so definitely like the ones you see here. So yeah, but glad to have you back, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us once again. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have our wonderful moderator, Nicolette. So Nicolette, if you could please introduce yourself to the lovely people and then take it away.
Okay, so good night, everyone. My name is Nicolette James. I teach, learn, and lead on Long Island, New York. I've been high school English department chair and an English teacher for grades 9 through 12 for over 12 years now. I've been a lifelong mindfulness practitioner myself and also practitioner in the classroom. I am the creator of the Intentional Educator Planner and the soon to be published for 2018, the Intentional Educator Journal. So that's me. And if we're all set, then we're going to jump into the first question for the panelists. Okay, so the first question up is, what does mindfulness in the classroom mean to you, and what does that look like to you?
I'll just go ahead and jump right in first. I think personally, mindfulness in the classroom, I've been able to get my class or my students to kind of calm down a little bit. There have been days where it just ends up being super crazy. I'm a specialist, so I only see kids for about 25 minutes, but every once in a while they come into my room and they are just hyped for some reason or another. And, you know, it helps us recenter a little bit, and just 5 minutes to take the time and just kind of become more aware of why we're in school and calm down a little bit and get back to learning mode instead of crazy off the wall mode. For me personally, everybody has those classes, those students who push your buttons as much as possible. And beginning a practice of mindfulness has been very helpful to me in trying to be more calm and react to situations a little better in the classroom. And it's realizing, okay, I can tell that my body is, becoming more tense. I can tell that I am being emotionally upset right now, and I can take that step back by practicing that mindfulness moment and say, okay, respond to this situation calmly instead of escalating it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with mindfulness in my classroom.
And to definitely piggyback off of what Rachel said, I know when I was in the classroom, when thinking of mindfulness, we did a lot of kind of stop and breathe techniques where, it was like, okay, guys, because my classroom was very, very time driven, very student driven, very, we always had a lot to do. So there was no kind of downtime and, time to act up pretty much. But that also could create a stressful environment where, the students were trying to accomplish everything and wasn't really in the moment. And so we would have those stop and breathes where, you know what, let's get in the moment. Let's really understand what we're doing, really understand why we're doing it more than the quantity. Let's worry more about the quality. Let's worry about why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. So we would do stop and breathe. So we would just stop and, breathe through our nose, breathe out through our mouths, and just make sure that we were kind of remembering why we were doing what we were doing. And it was very, very positive for my students. And even when looking at my life as a former teacher, librarian, district level admin, all the different things I've done in education over my almost 20 years now, just stopping sometimes and doing that breathing and just kind of remembering why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I have a motto that I say, especially when I'm getting, kind of stressed about the small things. You don't notice it when you're doing it. But when I'm getting stressed just about little things that are either not in my control or really just don't matter, I stop and I breathe and I say, 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, this second. And it just reminds me I'm in this second. I can't even worry about the whole day. I can't worry about the whole hour. I can't even worry about the whole minute, but I can only worry about this second. So I'll say that and it'll just really calm me down. Like, okay, this second, that's all I have to bite off right now. It's this 1 second. And it helps me. It helps me in education. It helps me as a presenter and just as an overall person.
Wow. Well, you both said so many wonderful things that I wanted to add on to, but then I'll just go with the last thing that you just mentioned, Desiree, with the students. And what I've found in my own classroom, many times I teach, for the last few years, I've been teaching the juniors and the seniors predominantly. And I found that they have so much stress, the juniors, because that's a very important year for them and their transcripts, and the seniors, because it's equally important. And they're also very anxious about leaving the high school and going to college and so forth. And so my practice with them has been on living, just like you said, focusing on the moment, and more so as an anxiety and stress reduction, and taking the time to really just be here now, because they're so focused on the future that everything that they're thinking about during class is never what's actually happening in class. It's about everything that's going to come after class, and just trying to remind them to be present. And so we do a lot of stop and breathe as well too. We practice mindful Mondays faithfully. So we would do different meditational practices, but most of them end up just being stopping, focusing on your breath, focusing on this moment, the only moment that you can actually be in, and doing things along those lines. But there's so much too, to go back to Rachel, the comment that you made about the kids sort of being boisterous at times and needing that moment to calm down. I too find that I don't have many opportunities to engage in that, because I see most of my kids in the morning and I need to actually get them going and not down. They come in already, so, relaxed enough. so sometimes we even do practices with mindfulness to stimulate them as well. So let's just go right into the next question, because Desiree, you kind of started talking about it when you mentioned your own practice. How would you suggest that others begin in their mindfulness practices for themselves and for the students that they work with?
I'll jump in, and since I kind of already started talking about it, I think the first thing honestly to do is to just do a little research for yourself and find out what mindfulness is and what it isn't. Um, just to make sure, because there's no like right way, to do mindfulness, but just to realize what it is and what it isn't. Because some of us have been doing mindfulness techniques for years. It just wasn't called something and didn't have a title to it. So just find out what it is and what it isn't, and it's not one more thing to do. It's not one more thing to learn, one more thing to do. It's really just realizing what works best for you and then what works best in your classroom with your students. Because one technique for one class may not work for another class. So just realizing what works best for your students, and to do that you actually have to know your students and to know what may, and get their input. It's not just you telling them this is how you're mindful. I mean, that's not how it's going to work. So just learning your students and learning what's best for them, and helping them through the process of being in the moment and not worrying about so much things. And it's so, not to drone on, but I feel like it's so much different from when we were in school, because we didn't know all the stuff that was going on. We didn't have 24-hour news cycles. We didn't have, our phone at our hips that told us every single thing that was wrong within the world. And, parents didn't talk in front of us. It was like going in the other room, grown folks are talking, and it's just not the case these days, where kids are so overwhelmed. Us as adults, we're overwhelmed, and we can actually do more, quote unquote, more about what's happening in the world than they can. And that feeling of helplessness can overtake them, just what's going on in the world, let alone what's going on in their lives and in the classroom and at the school. So there's a lot to be said for mindfulness, and a lot to be said of just taking that break to say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay not only to feel how you're feeling right now, but let's try to take it in small nuggets to see how we can move forward in our lives and not be as stressed as we are. And I do like your suggestion, Nicolette, about Mindful Mondays, because we had something that we did in the classroom. Now, it didn't start off that way because, of course, we have to build that trust first. But sometimes we would just lay. We would just take 5 minutes, lay on the floor, so we couldn't have that eye contact. We couldn't look at each other, and just, hey, does anybody want to share right now? And anything that was said in the circle, stayed in the circle. And of course, that took a lot of trust on the people that wanted to share. But it worked. We had people sharing about their family lives and just things going on. And when we got up, that was it. There was no, I'm going to come hug you about it, or we're going to talk about it. It was just a share and stop. And that was just your time. Now, if they did it later in the locker room or something, I don't know. But in class, that was it. You just shared, you got it out of your system, and we moved on with class like nothing really had happened. So that was one of the things that we did too, to kind of not only stay mindful in what was happening, but to kind of clear our souls almost, to let out anything that might have been bothering us at that moment.
Okay. How about you, Rachel? What would you suggest others do to get started in mindfulness practices in the classroom? Or you can talk a little bit about how you got started with mindfulness in the classroom.
Sure. To be completely transparent right now, I've visited a therapist before, and we talked about, how to control that inner voice, or at least not necessarily silence it, but kind of redirect how it speaks inside your head. And I was really looking for something I could use on my phone to help me be more in that kind of mindset. And I, this kind of transitions a little bit into your next question, so I hope I'm not stealing any thunder or anything, but I found that there's an app on the iOS App Store, at least. I'm sure it's available for Android too, but it's called Calm. And I've used that quite a bit. They have like a different daily meditation every day. And it just kind of helps you get in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to be in this moment right now, and I'm going to take time for myself and really kind of, okay, this is my purpose. I can speak of myself positively, and I can serve my students to the best of my ability in this moment right now. So I will gladly promote Calm as a great app to use. And I tweeted this out already. They actually do have free premium subscriptions for teachers, specifically to use with their students in the classroom. And so that's one of the things that I've used. I teach K through 6 elementary students, so they do have specific things for kids that we talk about belly breathing to think about how do the different parts of my body feel. It's just to try it, to get started. You just have to try it. And I think as teachers, we have the intuition of when our students are a little they're a little off, and we can tell that this might be something that they would be benefited by doing. So I pull up the websites, and their webpage too has lots of like nature scenes, video where you like, here's a lake with mountains by it, and you can just kind of watch it. And if you feel like you're kind of spiraling a little bit, just look at that and listen to the water, or listen to the bird, like notice the things that are happening up on the screen or something while you're feeling a little unsettled, and it's definitely helped. So I just do it. just try it and see if it works.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you have to just jump in, but I'm also a really strong advocate of being someone who practices what I preach. And so for me, it's really important to be a practitioner, to be someone who is striving to be mindful myself, and someone who engages in mindfulness practices as well, so that there's, some authenticity to sharing it with my students. And much of the resources that I've come across, well, not even come across, I've created, because prior to most recent years, there weren't too many things available for students. So I just created a lot of recordings. I would go online, I would find scenes like the one you just described, Rachel, and I would have them up on my smart board in the morning when the kids come into class, and they would just sit down and sort of just, be calm, as they would look at those scenes. And I have like tons of recorded guided meditations for them as well, so that they can use them outside of school as in addition to in class. And the feedback that I've gotten on that has been really positive. They say that they use them before tests and things like that, and they really have helped. But I think that one way to do it is to actually just get started practicing, and then to follow up with, like what Desiree said, with the research for ourselves as well, so that we become more knowledgeable about what's working and why, and so on and so forth. And since you already started with the recommendation, I will use that to get right into the third question, which is what resources you have come across or have discovered that have been helpful to you that you can share with our audience.
Okay, well, I'll jump in. I did share some links that EduMatch is going to tweet out, but one that I didn't get to, Rachel actually put it in the chat, is Go Noodle. I love Go Noodle. I think some people think that well, some educators, when you first look at Go Noodle, it looks very, oh, look at the cat. I'm so sorry. I'm like, ah, there you go, mindfulness. I was in the moment. Go Noodle looks very much for the little kids, very elementary, but it's not. It's really not. I've used it in PD before with adults. I've used it in high school. It's really not just for the littles. There's a lot on there that is pretty awesome. So I do like Go Noodle. That would be my suggestion.
Desiree, I just have to jump in there too as a high school educator and say that I second that. I love it. As you said, when you first visit the site, it does look very elementary. You'd be like, oh, no, I don't think there's anything here for me. But as you said, it works with the high school students and as well as with educators, with the adults too. So I second Go Noodle.
I apologize. My cat is trying to groom me here. He does that every once in a while. I see the question from the chat too, that from Irene. Thank you for joining us, Irene. She asked, "Is mindfulness and meditation the same?" I think I maybe fall on the side of no, they're not exactly the same thing. But maybe other people here have a better definition of what each of those are.
Hi, Irene. I think I'd respond to that by saying a definite no. Mindfulness to me and meditation are not the same. Mindfulness is mindful awareness, awareness of the present moment, and awareness without observation. Whereas meditation, which can be done very mindfully, is an intentional practice that you're doing well, for many different reasons, but one of the reasons may be for stress reduction. There are many different reasons to meditate. We can meditate by simply being aware of feeling our feet on the ground, by focusing on our breath. That's also a form of meditation. But I think being mindful can take place in many different ways, in many different times and places, because it's simply being aware of any given moment.
I completely agree with that, because meditation, I think, is one of the things you can do to be mindful. I think mindfulness is kind of the overall umbrella, and the meditation is one of the things that may fall under the umbrella that you may do to get yourself in a mindful place, if that makes sense. But I don't think they are the same thing at all. I think mindfulness is much more of a practice, of a state of being, of, like she said, of being in the moment. And meditation is one of those things that you may do to get there.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Being mindful is a state of being, and meditating can bring you to that state of being. Do we have any other recommendations of resources? I think one that I'll put out there that I recently came across is called Mindful Classrooms. Mindful Classrooms. I can't say that I've used many of the resources because I recently discovered it, but one resource that I used was a video that they have of students talking about their experience with mindfulness. Again, most of my stuff is created, so I have videos of my students talking about mindfulness, and it was the first that I came across of other students elsewhere talking about their practices with mindfulness. So that's Mindful Classrooms, and it looks like they have a lot of good stuff there. So I'm excited about looking more into what they have to offer.
And if I can jump in, I don't think I've met Nicolette before, so I just want to put that endorsement out there. But Nicolette, please share your stuff. I know you may not want, you may feel a little like, but no, baby, share your stuff. Share the link. If somebody has a problem with it, I asked for it. So please share your link with your resources. Absolutely, please share.
I would be happy to. I would be more than happy to. I will definitely do that. I have to figure out how to pop it in there, but as soon as I do, I will be happy to do that.
And I forgot to say this, but I'm from Louisiana, so I call everybody baby.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, do we else in the chat on the side? And I don't know if we have, oh my goodness, the kitty cat. Rachel, I'm being distracted. Okay, mindfulness, focus. So I think then if we have no more recommendations and resources, then that wraps up all of the questions that we have for this evening. I will put those resources in there, as I said, in a moment. Maybe, Sarah, you can help me out with that, getting that out to the folks. It was an absolute pleasure speaking to you this afternoon about mindfulness, and look forward to doing so again in the future. So at this time, Sarah, I'm going to throw it back over to you.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Nicolette, and thank you so much to Desiree and to Rachel and to everyone who was watching with us. So thank you, Irene, for being on our YouTube live page and asking questions, as well as everyone who is in our Twitter chat. So awesome episode, lots of great information. It's definitely out there using the Twitter hashtag. So if you go back and look at EduMatch, then you'll see all of this great info that was shared tonight. So thank you all again for everything. Just a reminder, then we have a badging challenge set up, and that the purpose of that is to extend our learning beyond the tweet and talk. So to definitely share practices and get inspired through by one another. So when you go on there today, you'll see that we have our 3 challenges: a mild challenge where you can share your tweets and then people can go on there and click and see, you know, what your learning was from this episode. We also have a Flipgrid, so shout out to Flipgrid. Rachel and I were there last week for the for a meetup at TIE 17. So awesome people. Shout out to Journey as well from Flipgrid. So also, last but not least, we have a spicy challenge. So if you go on badgelist.com/edumatch, you'll see the spicy challenge, which is you would go to Nicolette's website, which is educazen, I believe, educazen.org, and then just look like for the second little subheading, and there's a place you can sign up. When you sign up there, you'll receive a 5-day mindfulness mini challenge. So complete all of the different things in the mini challenge, then blog about what you learned or make a video or whatever you want to do. So blog about that. Also, just wanted to read from the side, the links to Nicolette's meditations are on YouTube. So Intentional Educators. So check out that page, Intentional Educators. But yeah, definitely sign up for her mini mindfulness challenge. Do the 5 days, blog or video or whatever about what you learned, Periscope, whatever. Just share the link, tag us, tag Nicolette, and you will get the EduMatch spicy badge. Spicy. Okay. So just to let you all know, this week we're going to have 3 episodes coming at you on Tuesday. So the first one, we're doing a special episode. So shout out to Irene Ball. You might remember her from the Hour of Code episode a couple weeks back. So she's going to be doing a special episode moderating with her students in her grad class on innovation. So check that out. 6 p.m. It's going to be a great episode. 7 o'clock, I get to chat with Josh Falaise, Dr. Josh Falaise. He is one of the EduSnap 17 authors, as well as at 7:45, we're going to chat with Kim Lane, another contributor to EduSnap 17. So some great episodes. And let me see. So next Sunday, we're going to take off because it's the 24th. So we're not doing a tweet and talk on the 24th nor on the 31st. But do want to let you know, on the 30th, we will be having our EduSnap 17 launch party. So I will put some links out about how you can get involved with that and mix and mingle with all of our authors. We have I think it's 32 authors from 6 countries. It's crazy. So it's going to be so much fun. Also, there's going to be some links dropped about how you can help us get the word out and amplify educator voice and student voice, because we have a student this year. So awesomeness. So yeah, so come back Tuesday, 6 p.m. Can't wait to see y'all. Same bad channel. And look out for this to be a podcast hitting your podcast favorite service, as well as YouTube, nice and edited and prettied up with links. So yes. All right, everyone, have a great night, and thank you again.